Today, we have an absolute gem of a guest who brings joy, creativity. Meet Tiffany, a makeup artist who's as bubbly and bright as she looks. She's got stories and tips that will inspire beauty professionals at every stage of their career. So grab your brushes and get ready to be inspired. Let's welcome the always fabulous, always smiling Tiffany to the show. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I am rolling today. You are my third interview and a great anchor. I love it.
Oh, well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the amazing introduction. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I swear to goodness, I will get better at this. I flub, I stumble, but I'm like, you know what? You guys are going to be a part of the journey and you're going to be a part of the ride. So I don't try to do too much editing and pretense. I'm new at this. I love it, and I'm only going to get better.
Everybody likes authenticity, someone that's real. So
Ain't it?
it's rare to find these days. So I say stick with
I
it.
agree. And I say this at the beginning of every interview. You know, it's been interesting acquiring guests because I know a lot of people. Obviously, I've been in the industry for 28 years, but I also have to be organic and reach out there to those I don't know. And it's amazing how I forget how much ego is in this business. And just some of the things I've heard, it hasn't been said to me, but I've heard it through a stylist that has accepted and did accept my invitation. She said, yeah, everybody was like, with the amount of followers you have, you shouldn't do anything for free. And I thought, well, first of all, should, should I have to pay you to promote yourself? Does that make any sense?
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this platform is for the next generation of beauty professionals, and it's really just to pay it forward. And for me, as a 28-year vet, to give back to the community in the best way that I know how. And what I enjoy most working behind the chair all these years is conversation. So I thought, why not marry the two? Great
Yeah,
conversation and education for aspiring new beauty professionals. So thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you for accepting my invitation and for jumping on. So let's start with your background, Tiffany. Can you tell us about your journey into the world of makeup? How did you
Wow.
get into this amazing, amazing industry?
I feel like I did have a little bit of a step ahead than some people. My family has salon. I grew up in the beauty industry my whole life. So my grandmother and my mother and my aunts, they all are in the industry. They work in a salon together back home in Michigan. And my grandma's 74 now, and she's still doing hair.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
74 ain't old.
No, it's not. And she said the day she quits is the day she dies. So she won't stop.
You know,
All of
that's
her,
probably what keeps her young.
oh, that's what she said. Absolutely. It keeps her happy. Her clients are like her family. They've been with her since before I was even born, forever ago. And they became family to me. Like they were at my wedding and everything like that. So just
That's
became really,
incredible.
yeah, became really close, like knit with everybody. But it was my childcare. I sat in the back room or sat at the front desk and I would try to answer the phone calls. And we didn't have computers back then. We had the little big book where you'd write down each booking with a pencil.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
And
ma'am.
I would do all of that all day. I'd answer the phone and then write into the book.
I
And
mean,
then,
there was something personable about that though, and intimate, where
yeah.
your clients were really able to connect with you and ask questions. And now, unfortunately, it is convenient for them to book online, but there's no relationship leading into
No.
it. I'm sorry. So there'll be a gnat joining us because for whatever reason, my plants have larvae or whatever, larvae.
Oh.
Somebody laid an egg. It's annoying. So I'm going to be batting. This is terrible. But again, this is reality. This is my life. So you worked in the industry, you grew up in the industry. So that
Yeah.
and that's hair.
Yeah, it's
how did
hair.
how did you go makeup or do you do hair? Are you a cosmetologist or just a makeup artist?
No, so I do
Why did I just
hairstyling.
say that? Just a makeup artist? No, that is a
It's
whole
okay.
thing.
You
No,
would
not
be
just.
surprised how much I hear that from people.
Oh, I
And when
hate
I
that
like,
I just said that.
it's okay. I get it a lot. I think a lot of us makeup artists get that actually. It's kind of,
Really?
yeah, it's a thing. I think we're like used to it at this point. There's a lot of, I would say pretty much almost every wedding I work, either a mother, aunt, or somebody will be like, "Is this all you do?" And I'll be like, "Yeah,
We
full
get that
time."
as hairdressers too, though. It's like, so I used to get that, especially when I was younger. I guess now they know
Mhm.
that this is what I'm doing at this age, but they
Mhm.
used to say, "So are you putting yourself through school? Are you doing this until you graduate?" And I'm like, I wanted to be a business owner. So, and that's what I am.
Growing up with my mom as a hairdresser, I remember even when we just go to like the doctor's office, they'd be like, "That's not a career," to her all the time
Wow.
growing up. She used to mention it to me all the time when I was younger. And
Yep.
she'd be like, "People always say it's not a career, but it is."
Oh, totally. I mean, we buy homes, cars, put our kids through college, pay our
Mhm.
bills. How is that not a career?
It's been a blessing with having this career. I don't think I could have ever had many experiences and things in life that I have now if I
Yeah,
didn't
because
have this career.
you meet so many people that you wouldn't have come in contact with. There's
Mm-mm.
no way you could have come in contact with some of the amazing people that we get to meet doing this job.
No, absolutely not. It definitely gives you a different perspective on life, meeting different personalities from different like walks of life and everything too. I think a
Yep.
career is really, really beneficial in the beauty industry in general. And I tell everybody, I'm like, I'm a half therapist, half makeup artist. I'm sure you're the, I know for a fact, actually, hairdressers are therapists. I used to say it to my grandma when I was younger. I'd see her doing a client and I'd be like, "You're a therapist."
1000%. I mean, you gotta dump it on somebody, and we are
Uh-huh.
the unbiased party, and they feel
Yeah.
comfortable because our job is direct contact. And so
Mhm.
anytime somebody like your doctor, anybody that is actually physically touching your body, right? You got to
Mhm.
form some type of trust,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
and build
know?
that
So
relationship and everything
all
too.
of it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was really into painting and drawing when I was younger. That was like a big thing for me. So I used to do that for fun instead of going out and about. Um, so I was the painter girl, I guess is the best way to put it. And then when clients would have their daughters or granddaughters come to salon, I would beg them to let me do their makeup. So I have a lot of pictures like growing up when I was little doing makeup on people in the salon.
Oh, I would love for you to share those someday.
Yeah.
That would be like the
I'll
young,
send it to
tiny
you.
you have it documented.
I
That's
do. And
so
I look at it
cool.
like, wow, I think I was like 11 or 12 in one of them. And I'm doing this girl's full makeup. I'm
Well,
like,
how did it look?
I don't know.
I'm like, "Well, how did it turn out? Was it amazing?"
I think she loved it because she came
That's
back
so
a couple more
cool.
times and had me do her makeup when her grandma was getting her hair done. So,
I mean, I love that you had a client at 12. Not many can say that, and it's also interesting how many stylists, because I just interviewed somebody that have a background, in art, that
mhm.
know how to draw, paint. I think they gravitate toward this industry.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
it must be natural. I'm the only one that doesn't have that background. I gravitated toward this industry, and this is what I'm finding that that I'm different from every single person I've talked to, is
Mhm.
that I came into it to be a business owner. And
Wow.
then but hair came naturally. So
Yeah.
my grandmother was a hairdresser, so I always knew how, but I wanted to be a business owner. I had a business
Mhm.
when I was 9. and I was the president, and we would raise money for to our clothes and to do like go roller skating and things.
That's
I
so
was, and my
cute.
mom helped me structure it. I was the president. We had a treasurer, a secretary. We took minutes and notes and had meetings. Like I literally knew when I was little that I wanted to be a business owner.
Yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel that. I used to go door to door to people and beg them to let me wash their car for money.
See, you know how to raise money, so and that serves you well today, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I would pitch people's doors growing up, hoping they'd let me do something.
Well, those were the good old days because today you get snatched up.
Oh, I know. I
How
know.
did you end up in where did you go to makeup school? Or do you what is I don't even know what is required to be a makeup artist.
So, surprisingly, nothing. You
Get
don't,
it.
yeah, you can be self taught and just
So
be a
there's no
makeup artist.
certification. You can just start painting faces and keep it moving.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. High school though, I did go to cosmetology school. Um, and then after that, I ended up getting hired by like a boutique when I was younger, when I was like 18. It was a clothing store. They sold shoes and just like cute jewelry and stuff like that. Anyways, people would come in all the time and say they love my makeup. So the owner eventually asked me if I'd be interested in doing makeup for their store, and she bought a whole Too Faced counter for me, got me
Wow.
trained by an artist out of a salon that was local, and then started having me do makeup there out of their boutique.
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh, that's an amazing opportunity, and that was gonna be my next question. When did you get your first big break? Would you say that was
Yeah,
it? And
that
for the
was.
yeah, and for those of that don't know, makeup like me,
Mhm.
um, Too Faced, where does that fall in line? Is that a high-end brand? Is it in drugstores? Is it, like, professional only? Or is
Um,
there even such a thing as professional only? Probably not, huh? You probably just get a professional discount or something.
yeah. Sorry, my thing's going off. My
Oh,
door's
no, you're
going off.
you're fine. You're
um,
fine. This is, again, virtual. We're at home.
my
These things
rings.
happen. That's so funny.
But yeah, so Too Faced, I would say it's like in between is the best way to put it. It's not drugstore, but it's not considered prestige because it's
Okay,
not like Dior or Chanel or anything
got
like
you.
that, like very, very expensive. But to me, back in the day, that was too expensive for me. So I was more so of a drugstore girl. Like when I first got my kit, everything was NYX and Maybelline. Like
Oh.
I could not afford going above that. Like there
That's
was no
what my
way.
makeup bag looks like now.
Yeah.
Mix.
You wanna know what? I tell my mom back home, just buy Maybelline stuff and NYX stuff and Elf stuff, it's just as good.
Really?
Yeah, it's just as good. Nowadays, I think they really experiment with the higher end products like these drugstore brands do, and they dupe them. So it's like, what's the point of buying the higher end stuff this like nowadays is the
I'm
best way to
telling
put it.
you, that bottom
Mhm.
line, that balance sheet, boy, that changes ethics, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. So you got your start in makeup at a boutique, which is so cool.
Mhm.
I mean, you never know how it's gonna happen. And when did
Yeah.
you what did you how long were you at the boutique? And from there, what happened?
So I was there for a couple of years, maybe even longer. I think it was about 2 years. They ended up opening up more and more locations. So she had one location to start with her mother. It was pretty much she ended up adding, I think, two or three more. And then they ended up hiring me as like a manager. So I ended up like flopping around at all the different stores. But then later on, I was at the mall and I was shopping, and a lady stopped me and said she loved my makeup, and I ended up getting hired for Dior as a freelance artist. So
Wow.
yeah, so
Is that
every
where most makeup artists start, like, at the counter or for a brand?
yeah,
Okay.
I feel like most start at Mac. Like majority that I know start at Mac. I did not start at Mac. I had an opportunity with them when I was younger, but then I actually gave it up for that boutique because I wanted to be more so independent and I wanted my own thing. So I thought it would be a better opportunity for me to learn and to grow and have actual clientele versus working for like a corporation. So I ended up turning that down, staying at the boutique. And then later on, I wanted to go to Mac, and they were like, oh, you turned us down. So,
Oh, snooze, you lose, huh?
yeah. So
Wow. All
I
right,
did
Mac,
it.
'cause where's Mac now? Not at the top.
No, not anymore, at
I
least.
mean,
It used to
we
be.
can't stay up there forever, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I
But
mean,
yeah, so
would
got
you
that.
say so is that the what you would recommend? Because, my passion is are the newbies coming into the beauty industry because I know how hard it is. And I know,
Mhm.
again, like we talked about earlier, you have a lot of egos and people that feel like they have made it to a level where they're above you, unfortunately, and we can get
Mhm.
very clicky and mean girly in this
Mhm.
industry. So
Oh,
if you're new, and that's why I wanted to create this platform, honestly, jump on here, talk
mhm.
to real people who actually want to help you, you know?
Mhm.
And so if
Yeah.
you are new coming into the makeup industry, if you could go back to young Tiffany, did you already know you wanted to freelance, or were you just like, "I'm just gonna jump in there and see where it takes me?" I
I
mean, do you
wanted
feel
to
like
say
it's important to know that already, or do you know what I'm saying, or does it matter?
I really do think it takes a special type of person to freelance, especially in this industry. And I think you either know you want it or you don't know that you want it at the
Okay.
beginning. For me, at least, I don't know. I think maybe that's just like a personal thing. Maybe people come into it and begin to learn to know that they want that. But from my personal experience, I knew that I wanted to create a business, and it wasn't even so much that I wanted to be like a freelancer. I more so wanted to be a well-known artist. And I
Okay.
wanted to be able to be in magazines and doing campaign, like that was my dream. I would look at magazines when I was little, and I would always look through them, and then I would recreate back to my painting days. I would sit in front of my mirror once I got older and do makeup looks, like copy paste onto my face instead of doing the copy paste of like drawings. So it
Wow.
was really fun to me, and I was like, I want to be in this magazine one day,
And
and
this
people
is why
know.
you're you. This is why you're
Yeah,
you. I mean, when you
yeah,
rewind the tapes, it's like you were gonna be this. I
yeah.
mean,
I
it was
wanted it
already
so
mapped
bad.
out.
Mhm.
Wow. So I think that's important that we aspire and dream and work toward
Yeah,
that goal because you can get there.
yeah, absolutely. And I still don't feel like I'm there. Like everything is just, it takes time. Everything takes
Yeah, and you
time.
it mhm. And feeling you should never feel like you're there or else you stop
No,
trying, you
that's
know?
so true, actually.
And when you think about a vision board and how because I have a vision board and I envisioned what I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
I had written a podcast. I wanted that so bad, and I've been working on it, and now it's finally coming into fruition. And so I think about what you shared, being a little girl and cutting and pasting and putting yourself in magazines. That's like a vision board. You almost
Mhm.
manifested this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had a journal too. I used to write everything when I was younger. And
That's
then I still
important.
continue doing it as an adult. I still have one now where I'll draw up sketches of things that I want for my future and like how I see them.
Wow, that's
Like, yeah.
incredible.
I
I
don't
love
do a
it.
vision board, but that's
Well,
my
you know
personal
what?
one.
That is a vision board for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I know you went from freelance to your own studio because I've
Mhm.
been to your studio. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So what was that transition like and what is required in order to go from freelance to your own studio in
Yeah.
makeup?
Yeah. So I've always worked with people. So it is different working by yourself and working on your own. I will say that. When I first moved out here to Arizona, I had to start fresh and start all over again. So obviously, fly. So I'm like, they're coming out today. um,
I have to keep muting my mic because we have a landscaper outside. Oh
oh,
my God. Okay, I'm gonna learn times to do this podcast, but you know what? We're gonna roll. I'm just gonna mute when you talk.
deal.
So
But yeah, so starting as a freelancer, I would say the best way to put it as a freelancer is you're always collaborating, you're always working with people, you're always in salons and just surrounded by other beauty professionals is the best way to put it. Especially as a makeup artist, you want to make sure that you're working with other people that are in the industry. So I think I still do that to this date. Um, but the only difference I would say now that I have versus back then is I shared a studio with other girls. Or I was on like a bridal team. So I
mm,
was on like a group of girls and we would go on site to people and it would be like a bunch of us girls at the same time.
mm,
Um, so things changed when I decided to open my studio because it meant now this is just you. You don't have a team that you're on anymore. You don't have a group of girls that you're with all day, every day anymore with. Like you're creating an environment that's solely yours and attracting only your clients now. You're not picking people from the people that are standing next to you or the client base that they got for themselves and they're
sure.
handing off to you. So it's a little bit different within that aspect because at least you fully know it's you. But then because you have only you, that means you need to pour into you.
Good
So
advice. Great
yeah,
advice. And
yeah.
would you say for new makeup artists or someone wanting to get into this and end up being you someday, would you say when you do have to find people to, how hard is it rather to find people to collaborate with, being that there are a lot of makeup artists? I was
Mhm.
just invited to do a fashion week, but I couldn't do
Mhm.
it because I was traveling, but I was on the thread and they were
Yeah.
looking for hairdressers and makeup artists, and the makeup artists just kept coming. It was like very little
Mhm.
hair. It was just
Mhm.
makeup art, MUA, MUA, MUA. I'm like, wow, okay. So there are a lot of them. So I would imagine it's a pretty competitive field, and trying to find somebody that will back you and collaborate with you must be a bit of a challenge. Yeah, yay or nay?
I think I got into the game at the right timing.
Okay,
And I've met great people. I would say there's a lot of makeup artists now, but
gotcha,
when I started here, there was not.
gotcha.
And another thing that I do hear a lot from a lot of like clientele or other people that are collaborating is reliability. So that's super important. Having somebody that you know is going to follow through, not cancel on you and show up and stay professional the whole time. So if you're
I
able to give that to a hairdresser or a photographer and create that environment with them that they're looking to create, then they're going to continue working with you. And it's just going to build that relationship where you continuously keep working with those same people. Yes, you still seek out for other. I think I don't seek out for a lot of people to collaborate because I feel like I've met my good niche of people that like we work really well together.
right.
Um, but if somebody does reach out to me, I always say yes.
Yeah,
So that's
for
another
sure.
thing too. So I think when you find your people, you find your people. So you find like your group of people, but it's just mainly staying professional, making sure like you're building those relationships and stuff with people.
No, that's great advice. And in your studio, I know it's big enough, you said, for more than you, but is it just you, or have you invited someone in, or do you work with an assistant? Do you have anyone shadowing you? Is that a thing in makeup? I don't know.
It's actually a big thing. I shadowed somebody for a good like 2 or 3 years when I first moved here. I tell everybody that like sends me a DM that's looking to get into the makeup world, you need to shadow somebody or join a team.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like, no matter what, if somebody does ask me, I let them know, like, yeah, you can
Yeah.
absolutely come and shadow me for a day. Sometimes I have people just come to a wedding with me and see what it's like. And I'm like, if you're ever interested and like you feel like it's something you really, really like and you want to learn more, I'm more than willing to have you on as like an assistant. Um, but I currently, so in my studio, I do not have assistants in my studio, but I do have assistants. So they're not in studio with me, but they join me for weddings on site. So for bigger like bridal parties and stuff like
Yep.
that, I
Hmm.
have stuck with the same girls that I've had for years. And it's because
Yeah.
they're so amazing and they're great girls and
And you trust them.
ugh, I trust them and they're just reliable and just amazing, amazing, amazing people, like humans in general. So
And I love that you welcome them, and you don't say no, and you certainly could at the level that you operate. What
absolutely not.
what is a different what is then for those that don't, because I hear that like, "Oh, they don't want, they didn't respond, or they said no, or they were funky with me, or I tried to meet them and they just, gave me the stiff arm." And you're
It
like,
happened to me a lot when I moved here.
"Really?" And I
That
just
was
don't
years ago.
understand what's the disadvantage to helping someone? Like, where does that even come from? Like, why wouldn't you just automatically wanna help someone when
I
you've
can
already
tell you what I've
succeeded at
heard from
something?
other artists. So, other artists that I've talked to about this subject, their perspective is I have all this knowledge. Why would I give away my secrets? Why would I
Well
let them know everything I do and every way I do it in order for them to take my business from me? Is
well,
like where,
ah,
and my thought process is nobody is you. I've taught people that have paid me to take classes with me as a pro, and they still aren't me. They're picking up things. They pick up things, tips. One of them assists me. She's been with me for maybe a year and a half. Amazing, so talented. But she puts her twist on it. She makes it her. And where
yeah.
her mind is and where her perspective is of the art, it's art at the end of the day. So if you're teaching somebody anything of your skill set, hair, makeup, anything along those lines, nobody is ever going to be you.
And I think you're absolutely right, that which is why it doesn't make any sense to me, especially
Mhm.
when you're at the highest level. It's like you can't possibly be insecure about
Yeah.
someone taking your business. First of all, they can't. Secondly, if they do, you don't own anybody. That person would have left anyway, to go to
Mhm.
somebody, if not that person, somebody else, because clearly they're not loyal to you if they
Mhm.
leave in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then the other thing is there are enough people on this earth to go around. Not one person can do everybody. And
Yeah.
if somebody grows and becomes amazing under your tutelage, if you will, that's a feather in your cap. That means you are that great of a professional that you are actually able to duplicate yourself to go on and grow and be faster, bigger, better than you. And
Yep.
why wouldn't that be rewarding unless you were insecure to begin with?
Mhm. Well, also they attract their own clientele base too. At the end
Yeah,
of the day, that's really what it is. They attract their own clients and they're not the same as you because you guys have different personalities.
all of it. Because a
All
little
of it,
bit,
all the things.
it's some of it is about your talent, but other parts of it are your personality, and that is what creates your tribe.
Yeah, I feel
Everybody
like
has
that's how
their
I got my
tribe.
clients. Absolutely. It's all
Yeah.
about your personality and how you connect with people at the end of the day.
I mean, because think about it. When you're in the dating world and you see this amazing looking guy, right? And then he has a shitty attitude. It's like, ew, you just
Mhm.
like got ugly. You know, I don't care. I rather date your ugly friend than you.
I think
You
that
know?
about everybody though. When somebody's nasty, I'm like,
Ugh, I
oh,
hate
you're
it.
really pretty, but
You ain't all that. Ain't nobody all that,
I think
honey.
I've told you even before, like when I've done some like celebrity clients, I'm like, no, no, girl, I ain't gonna treat you any different.
Oh, and believe
No,
me, I've
no.
had my fair share as well. I'm like, huh, I don't think you pay me anymore. And even if you did, I'm not
Yeah.
your slave. You
Uh-huh.
enlisted a service that I do. But that
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean that you own me.
Uh-huh.
Hello,
Absolutely.
ma'am,
Yeah.
sir. So what is the typical I said I'm gonna stop saying so let me start over. I start every question with so. Tiffany, what does a typical day look like for you in your practice?
Um, so it depends where I'm going. If I'm going on site to hotel or if I'm going to my studio, pretty much just setting up inside of the hotel or the Airbnb or the house or my studio. And then first thing the client gets to me or I'm walking into the door, I'm always making sure I'm greeting them, asking them how they're doing, how things have been. Did you get good sleep? Did you not get good sleep?
Yes.
Update me. What's going on so I know how much hydration I need to put on your skin.
Yes, exactly. And
All
do
the things. Where
do
are we
you give
energy
them
wise?
yeah, I need to know, like, what am I working with? Do
What am
you
I
give
walking
them
into?
yes. Do you give
So I
them
feel
a
out the vibe.
pre yeah, right? I
Before
love
I
it.
do anything, I'm like, let me feel the vibe first. Let me see what's going on.
I personally have had my makeup done by you, and it is such an experience. Like your energy is just so calming that you could literally paint my face like a clown, and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like you do, like you are infectious, and I love how bubbly and your energy. You're always happy, smiling, and by the way, people, like you have no filters. Like your Instagram, you have beautiful photos, but your actual bare face looks exactly like your photos. You know how some
Thank you.
people you're like you're a 10 on Instagram, but in person you're like a 6. Like how? You know?
You're like, wait, your makeup doesn't look like that.
Yeah, like what happened? Like how do you have a whole new face? Like that's weird.
Oh my gosh, you know what's so funny is when I first moved out here, I saw so many artists that like I aspired to be like, of course. I'm
Yeah.
sure you're probably the same way. You'll look at their work and you'll be like, oh my gosh, how
Yes.
do they do that? Like, I need to
Yeah.
figure that out. I would do that all the time to makeup artists, especially like celeb makeup artists that I really wanted to be like. I'm like, I'm gonna be in a magazine one day and I'm gonna do just like that. And I look at the skin, I'm like, how is it so flawless? Or like, how is the eyeshadow blended so well? It pushed me to a whole nother level with social media where I
Wow.
had a different perspective on it. I was like, oh, it has to be perfect. But lo and behold, I ended up taking classes by some of these people and then seeing stuff in person. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh,
Oh, not
oh,
what you thought?
not what I thought. No, things are very edited. And then they
Ah,
would teach me how to edit. And I'm like,
you're like,
interesting trying. But I will say I feel like it like helped with my skill set because
okay.
it made me think that things were something that they weren't.
It gave you a realistic view.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I didn't know that editing, well, I didn't know how to edit like that.
I
And
didn't
I
know
didn't
editing
know.
was a thing in hair either. Like that
Yeah.
you can make a brassy blonde look like an icy blonde. And I'm like, wow, and post it. Like
Oh.
it's your work. And that's why I always say the best content creator, not necessarily the best artist. They just know
Mhm.
how to take good pictures,
Yeah, yeah. I
you
had one
know?
hairdresser tell me that she ended up using some app that put makeup on all of her clients. And I was
What?
like, "Oh my gosh, you're taking me out of business?"
Well, but people still are real life. Like you're really
Yeah,
gonna be at
yeah.
your wedding and you you know, you still have to have the makeup. Isn't that
They
just
do.
incredible how much the industry has changed? And that's why you're almost at an advantage if you are a little bit old school because you
Mhm.
actually know how,
Mhm. I
you
agree.
know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
what surprised you when you were, the people that you looked up to, the makeup artists that you aspire to be,
Mhm.
were you ever able to actually meet one specific person that you said, I don't know if I could ever meet this person. Like they seem so far from reach, but you were
Mhm.
actually able to reach them, meet them, and do makeup with them.
Yeah, I got to work with this artist named Jordan Liberty.
Okay.
So he's in Los Angeles. He does all the campaigns for majority of the makeup brands out there. That's like in Ulta, like those pictures that you see in Ulta and stuff like that. He does the photography end and also the makeup end. And I did makeup with him. I was an assistant for him in LA for a photo shoot for Sigma Beauty for the Disney campaign for Alice in Wonderland. And
Wow.
oh my goodness, it was everything and more. And he was just a genuine person and so, so kind and so nice. And I'll never forget it because I just didn't expect him to do this. And I would never even ask it out of anybody. But he had his talent manager on the phone and he told his talent manager about me and was like, "You should check her out. She's amazing." Nothing
Oh my
came out
God,
of it.
you just validated what we just discussed.
Yeah, yeah, and
He
he didn't have to do that.
as big as he is, he's everywhere. I mean, he's got the probably what people aspire to have,
Oh
and
yeah.
yet he's still paying it forward. And
Mhm.
that's going to serve him well. And that's probably how he got to where he is.
Yeah.
Because being a gatekeeper, it's not cute.
Mm-mm. He's huge.
It's
He
not
works for
cute.
all the brands and stuff. But this is one thing I will say that I have noticed about him, which I think is great. He has a small knit group of people he continues to work with and collaborate with. And
Mm.
they're on rotation with the same people on repeat. He built really good relationships with them and he sticks beside them. And I think, again, me going back to the collaboration of like sticking with the people that I've been with for years now, collaborating with, I think that's really important, holding on to those relationships and keeping them nourished and growing together.
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, that other people come in, but those people that started with you from the bottom, it just is a little bit different.
And it's a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, like relationships are valued and valuable in
Mhm.
life, in in your home life, your work life, your with
Mhm.
your kids, your friends, why not your baby, which is your career, your profession? Wouldn't
Yeah.
you want people around you that are tried and true?
You build and grow together, which
Yeah.
I love.
And how many clients do you see in a week? This gnat doesn't want to be, I don't think it went in my mouth. I was like, if you went in
Ew.
my mouth, I'm freaking gonna no. This gnat apparently wants to be mic'd up. I don't know what the deal is, but it is not. It is relentless. I'm like, bro, relax. Go sit down. Go have a cocktail. Get away from me. Oh,
Oh man.
so you see how many clients a week before we were so rudely interrupted, Nat?
It really depends. It's always different every week. So it kind of, since I am a makeup artist, I feel like our industry is a little bit different than like brow artists or
Yep.
hairdressers. You
Yep.
guys usually have continuous clients and the same ones that continually come in and rebook.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's always different, so I never know who I'm getting, and sometimes I know who I'm getting, of course. Like I have repeats that come back to me, but it's special occasions. So it's maybe a couple times a year. Um, but yeah, so it'll always be something different. So either I'll have a wedding one week and they'll have 10 bridesmaids, and then I have regular bookings at the studio too. So it can fluctuate from anywhere to like 10 to like 30, 40 people in a week.
Wow. That's
It
crazy.
depends.
And
Yeah.
so that means that you have to continuously, like social media is more important to
Mhm.
you than anyone really. Because even
Yeah.
I mean, you're a stylist too, but at least a stylist is gonna get a client, and that client will be with them for the next 20 years, possibly,
Mhm.
but not necessarily a makeup artist. So you almost have to keep reinventing yourself. It's new every time you do it.
No, seriously. I think that all the time, actually. And I've said that to hairdressers before. It's very different for us because it feels like we're continuously trying to keep up with the Jones, is the best way to put it. We always have to be relevant on social media. We got to keep up with the hottest trends. We got to make sure that we're continuously marketing and advertising ourselves and that people want to buy into us. And now, like you've even mentioned, there's so many artists now. So you can
Yeah.
just look on social media and see a photo, again, not know if it's edited or not know anything. They just have a great personality or they have a really big following, and then they book with that person because they think they're getting something they're not getting because there's so much on social. So now for me personally, I do social media a lot, but word of mouth is way more important to me.
Oh, for sure. It's always the best medicine, or the best way to promote
Yeah.
yourself is real
Yeah.
life experience.
Yeah. And I know what type of people I'm typically getting with those people. And I'm like, okay, those are my people. Like
Yes.
I built that relationship with that person and we like connected in some shape, form, or way. And I know what type of person they'll probably be. And then it makes me happy and excited to see that person. Cause I'm like, this is even better than getting a stranger I don't know that just like randomly booked me off of Instagram.
Girl. And I keep hearing horror story after horror story of, with weddings especially, where these brides, they go directly to Instagram, who's the best makeup, who's the best hair, and
Mhm.
sometimes they can't afford it. They can barely afford the wedding day service. So sometimes they just kind of wing it, like go on a hope and a prayer that all your pictures are who you say you are. And then
Mhm.
you fly in day of wedding and your makeup, it looks like crap,
Mhm. I've heard that a
and it's
lot.
like, yeah, I keep hearing that. And I'm like, that is terrifying.
I understand the financial thing. That's why I ended up giving the option of payment plans if that's something that's needed from somebody. But I do say you get what you pay for. It sucks to say, but sometimes it's true, especially when you're getting a luxury service and for a special occasion, and you're going to have all these photos that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. If you're spending $10,000 on a photographer, you should definitely invest into your makeup.
What is an average cost of a bridal package as far as makeup and hair goes for a bride?
Mhm.
Like if you're a bride and you want, I don't know, you have a party of 7,
Yeah.
what
Party of
would that look
seven.
like
It'd probably be about 1,000, about 1,500, I would say. It'd probably be around that.
for
Yeah.
makeup for 7
Hmm.
girls? Okay.
Hmm.
All
Yeah.
right. I don't think that's too much in today's market,
No, I
because
don't think it's bad.
a wedding could be $100,000 today.
Hmm.
It's
Well, I just had a
crazy.
bride about a couple weekends ago. She spent $50,000 on her flowers.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I've heard that more than once. $10,000 is the going rate for photographers right now here in Arizona.
What in the tomfoolery? What?
Hmm. And
50
then
grand?
a lot of people have been getting like violinists or like people that play instruments. That's about $5,000. The
Ooh.
venues are starting at 30K.
Oh,
Yeah, so I understand where people sometimes look at makeup where they're like, okay, that's the last thing I want to spend a bunch of money on. But I
when
think,
that's not your actual face, and that's what the actual memory is going to be. But let me just skimp on that and spend
yeah,
50 grand on flowers.
yeah, yeah. But
That are,
I will say, I
it
have
is
amazing
beautiful.
women that see value in me and they don't flinch. They pay it because they know that they want me as their artist. They know the experience they're going to be provided. They know that we connect and that I'm going to make sure like their whole day is good and calming and the
Yeah.
whole shebang. Um, so it's very important to do your research too on making sure, maybe do a phone call and just be
Yeah.
like, hey, just wanted to see how we vibe on the phone before I book you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of this beautiful makeup that you do.
Thank you.
Yoo-hoo! You guys, this is going to be a treat. Such a treat. I mean,
Oh, goodness.
girl, are you doing this on yourself?
I am. Yeah.
That is crazy. How long does this take?
uh, like, do you want me to be honest? Like 5 hours?
Oh my God.
It takes something around there, but I take my time. It's therapeutic.
Do you do this on other people? Is this how you just use your face as your own canvas to practice so that when you do it on a guest, or do you do this? Is this a request?
I don't usually get requests for stuff like this. I usually just get, I'm going to a gala or I'm getting married or it's my birthday. I have maybe had a good like 20 people that have asked for this type of thing, but it was Halloween or they have
Oh,
like a special photo shoot and they wanted to go all out and go wild.
yep.
Um, but I actually have not got requested to do something like this in a
That's
really long time.
editorial. And
Yeah.
then we've got, oh, I mean, so when you're thinking of this, where's your head at? Like, are you like, you know what? Or do you map it out first and then you end with what you mapped out? Or are you just playing around?
Sometimes a mix of both. I'll have an idea in my head of what I want it to look like. And then once I get into it, I'm like, let me add this. Actually, I think this would look better. And then I just start kind of playing with it. Again, it's very therapeutic to me. It's so much fun where I'll just have an idea in my head and I'm like, I'm going to do something with this. And then I just sit there and play music and go for it.
Oh my God, I love your life. And you know, I see these glitter sprays and I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I get them and by the time I don't use them so they dissipate or
Uh-huh.
disintegrate or whatever you want to call it. And I'm looking at you, you have the glitter. I mean, you have the glitter in your hair. That's a perfect use of it too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
So I
sure
actually
stylists can
used
appreciate that.
loose glitter.
That's loose?
It's loose with lash glue.
How do you get that out of your hair?
A lot of scrubbing.
Because I'm like, woo!
A lot of scrubbing.
Wow. And how long does something like this take?
About the same, a good like 5 hours, I would say.
What a
Um,
fun job.
yeah, it's fun.
That is
And I
so
don't get
fun.
paid for that or anything.
I
It's just
know. That's so cool. So this is part of your branding shoot that you did that I will show you guys because I wanted to put this as the intro actually, but I'm going to show you this girl is boss. Like she is like the actual shit. Okay. I mean, not you and it looking better than the models.
Oh my goodness, no. They're
That is
beautiful.
amazing. That is so good. So good. So
Thanks.
that branding shoot, how long? That must have taken forever.
It did. There's actually a celebrity artist that had a commercial that I saw that looked just not exactly to the T, but similar. And I was so in love with it. And I was like, you wanna know what? I was talking with my friends back home. I'm like, this is an investment. I don't know if I want to make it. And she's like, why wouldn't you make an investment into your business that's gonna help
Yeah,
it
you
grow
can
even
use
more?
this. Yeah, this thing you can use forever, like literally
Yeah.
forever. And your hair, everything is just on point.
Thanks. Yeah, I
So
hired out
how did you find your, is this a photographer that you knew or a
kinda. I
service?
never worked with her before. I was in
Mm.
love with her work though. I was looking at for years. I'm like, one day I'm gonna work with her. And then she quoted me and I was like, oh my goodness, so expensive.
You're like, maybe not. Maybe one day I won't work with her."
Yeah. And so I emailed
I
her back
mean,
like 2 years ago.
ballparkish. I try to get the T here. Ballparkish ish, if you care to
Mhm.
share. What does
All around. So I hired a videographer, a photographer. I paid both of the models. And then also, obviously, I bought products and the accessories and their clothing and everything for it. And then I hired out a hairdresser for myself to do my hair like that. Um, Probably total altogether for everything, I would say good. And I had to pay for the edited images is almost 4,000.
oh,
Yeah,
gee, that's a car
yeah.
payment. Or that's 2 house payments,
I know. I
2
know.
mortgages.
I
But
have
you
not
know
done one of
what?
these shoots again since.
But to your point, like, it's our business, it's our pride and joy. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you invest? Because people go and buy a handbag for that.
Exactly. And I don't buy stuff like that for myself in general, anyways. So this to me was what's most important to me, my business.
Yes,
So
so
I'm
worth it
gonna
because it
figure
is
it out.
quality, chef's
hmm
kiss. It is
Thank you.
quality, very well done. I mean, the
So worth it.
models are perfect, everything is perfect in my
hmm
opinion.
Thank you. I tried. This is like
Wow.
3 years ago now, and I'm still using it on my website.
Oh
So
my
look at that.
gosh. That looks so I mean, it looks fresh. It looks fresh
I
and new.
know. It's timeless.
Wow. So we talked about where you draw your inspiration from, and really it's
Mhm.
just from playing around in your mirror.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you have a favorite influencer who inspires you, or is it the makeup artist that you shadowed?
The artist I shadowed, I really like. I was very inspired by for business purposes. I would say
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
the content creation end of things, there's a lot of amazing talents on Instagram.
Yeah.
I couldn't really give like a bunch of names, but I randomly would just see things and I'd be like, oh, I like that, and I'd save it, kind of how you do on like a Pinterest board
Yep.
type of thing.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I like to make things with my own twist.
I
Again,
and it shows because you have your own vibe. It is the for the lack of a better word. I can't my brain literally went did a what glitch. It was like Uh, so let's get into your future plans. Like, let's talk about before that. How do you balance like your work-life balance? Because I know you and your cute little husband, you guys are so cute. I look at all your photos and you have just so much love and just you can just see it coming from the screen.
Thanks.
So much love for one
Yeah,
another.
he's
How do
my
you
best friend.
yes, yes.
But yeah, no, I don't know. He works weekdays. I work weekends. He has weekends off. I have some weekdays off. So it is hard sometimes. I will say we make sure to go home and visit every single year back home in Michigan because that's where we're both from. And every
Mhm.
time we do that for a good like week and a half, 2 weeks. Um, my door is going off again.
Totally fine.
It's the Amazon packages.
Yeah, they gotta keep coming, girl. I get it.
But yeah, so we do a lot of activities together, is the best way to put it. So we make sure we're going for a walk at night, or we're going to go do putt putting, or we're watching a movie together, doing something like a game night together. Always doing something to like make sure, like we always have at least one time out of every single day that we're just making sure we're doing something together, like off of
God,
our phones.
And you don't have any children or pets?
No, we have 2 dogs.
Oh, you have 2 dogs.
Yeah, and one's a baby. We just got her like 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
What type of dogs do you have?
I have a Pomeranian Poodle and then
Oh,
a
so
Chihuahua.
cute.
I know they're feisty, but they're so cute.
Those Pomeranians are so cute, but we can't
He's
have a
so cute.
dog because, yeah,
Oh,
my hubby, we travel too much to take
yeah.
on the responsibility, and it just wouldn't be fair to our dog.
Yeah.
Do
Traveling's
you have
amazing.
Yes, I know. It is. I'm just starting, finally. Do you have any future plans, or do you think that this is it for you in the industry? Do you wanna go bigger? Do you ever see yourself in a different state doing what you do, or what do you see for yourself in the future? Because I know you're good at projecting your future, so I know you've thought about it.
I definitely have. I always thought I wanted to be in like Los Angeles or something doing makeup. After I've been there a couple times, I don't think I want to be there in
It's
that
an
world.
interesting place.
It's interesting because when I was younger, I wanted all of these things to be with celebrities and be in magazines and all that jazz. And now that I feel that like I've hit some of those goals and done those things, I just can't see that 100% be my life. I
What did you have a particular, defining moment in that where as you're starting to get those opportunities that you pulled back like, just kidding."
I like editorial makeup for like branding. So
Okay.
I could see myself doing like branding campaigns for like Ulta and stuff like that. I think the celebrity in that I wanted, I don't want that in. And the
Mhm.
only reason I would say that is because I did have the opportunity to do a lot when Super Bowl was here in Arizona.
Mm.
And I was so excited about it. Like it was a dream come true for me. And then I had that opportunity, and the nicer way to put it is regular day women treat me better than a celebrity does. And as being just a human, it doesn't feel good, and mentally it can really mess you up when you're not getting treated like a normal human.
I relate. I gotta
So,
when
yeah.
we had 2008 is when I acquired one of the first celebrities I did, and
Mhm.
she treated her dog better than she treated me, like,
Mhm.
unapologetically.
Mm-mm. No. Yeah. No, I didn't enjoy it. I did like doing their makeup. I wasn't even able to take photos of them. My regular clients let me take photos of them. Um,
Oh, I know. I had to sign an NDA with this last one I did, no photos, so it's like,
yeah, it's like it never happened.
how does that help me
It
if
doesn't.
I
And I
can't even
didn't get,
say I was here? Like, it's just
yeah.
it's
And
a
I charge them the same I
non-opportunity.
charge anybody else.
Yeah, so it's like, well, with the attitude, and let me back up before the pet community comes for me. You treat it I know people look at their dogs like their children, so it's not that I felt like I should be treated better than her dog. However, you understand the reference
I totally
is
get the
at
reference.
least like I should be treated equal to your dog. How about that? Or at
Mhm.
least like I'm human and not the animal in the room. That's
Yeah.
all I was trying to say.
Yeah. No, that just that you should be treated like a human
Like
in
a
general,
human
just
being,
treated
like
properly.
I'm not object like an object. I might as well have been
Mhm.
your footrest or
Mhm.
the beautiful, Louboutin sneakers you were wearing, I
Yeah.
think got better treatment than I did.
I think they need to invent like a robot to do their makeup and their
Seriously,
hair
no
because that's what
personality.
they need. They need like
Mhm.
a computer
Yep,
because they don't want us at the
they
end of the
don't want
day.
us, And don't look at me, don't talk to me, don't. It's just like ridiculous. I'm like, yep, and you won't be famous 5 years from now or even tomorrow. So you can
Yeah.
relax,
Well, for
because
me, I didn't even know who the women were because I don't really know celebrities like that. But then when like I called my best friend back home, she's having like freakouts, like, oh my gosh.
she's fanning out.
Yeah. And I'm like, girl, I don't know, but she did not treat me good. So I don't care.
You're like, and she's lucky I ain't saying who she is anyway. Do you
No.
have any upcoming projects or collaborations that you're particularly excited about?
Um,
Anything in the pipeline?
That's local, so that's pretty cool. And it was like
You popped
fun.
off,
And,
or you popped off, so I'll ask
oh,
that question again.
okay.
Do you have any future collaborations coming up in particular that you're excited about?
Yeah. So I actually did one about a week and a half ago, for a magazine that's local here in Arizona. I'm not gonna say what yet or anything,
Oh, stay tuned.
but I'm excited for that. So that's my first here in Arizona, I
I
think.
love that.
Yeah.
I
So I'm
love that.
excited.
Well, I can't wait to. I'll look for it, and you shoot me a little message and let me know when that thing comes out, so I'll know to look for it.
I will. I absolutely will.
Okay, so is there, in closing, before I get to my little game, because I love games, so I do this game at the end that
Okay.
I call it the 60-second blowout, but that's the hairdresser in me. So
It's
we'll just
cute.
call it the 60-second glow up. How about that for
Okay.
you?
Okay.
So, lastly, in closing, is there any one piece of advice that you can pass on to new makeup artists coming into the industry?
Mm. Definitely make sure that you're getting images of all of the work you do. Every single thing that you do, take photos of it because these days social media is so heavy. Ooh, my dogs.
No, you're fine. Yep,
um,
you are
so
completely fine.
So social media is super heavy these days. So definitely always taking photos all the time of everything you did. Even if you don't think that it's good, somebody else may think it's good. So
Okay.
post it.
Okay.
And making sure that you're shadowing somebody that you inspire. And if people, I got this a lot from a lot of artists that I've trained and like worked with before. Nobody answers my messages. Nobody wants to collaborate with me. No models show up for me. They don't respond back to me. Get your mom, get your sister, get
Mm.
a neighbor, get somebody. They don't have to look a certain type of way that you think they need to look. You need an everyday woman. So get normal women, practice on them, and post them. If you're not getting people off of social media that look like these Instagram models, that's fine. You just need people in your seat.
Ah, that's amazing advice.
Yeah.
That is great advice. Thank you so much.
Of
You are going to
course.
help so many.
I know.
I am so happy to have had you on the show, and I know somewhere down the line later on, I'll have you back on. If you can make space for me, that would be amazing.
Always.
Oh, yay. I'm like, yay. All
Thank you
righty.
for
So
having me.
this is, oh, of course. I mean, it's my honor and my pleasure. This is where I put my ginormous glasses on. Look at, oh, could they be any bigger? I mean, and they could be clean too, couldn't they? My
You should
word.
come on and just be like, and that's a wrap.
And that's a wrap. Look. All
And
righty.
closing.
So I am going to set a timer and I'm going to give you rapid fire questions.
Oh,
Answer as quickly as you can, off the cuff, off the fly.
okay.
Are we ready? You're like, I
I'm not
love you.
sweating.
And I'm like, I'm sweaty now. Okay. Ready, set, go. Favorite makeup product you can't live without.
Concealer.
Go-to look for a night out.
Oh, definitely a bronze look.
Bold lips or dramatic eyes.
Dramatic eyes.
Favorite makeup brand.
NYX.
Matte or dewy.
I'm that girl.
Most challenging makeup trend to master.
Oh my goodness, the cat eye.
Favorite celebrity makeup look.
That's a hard one. Oh my
You're like,
goodness. I don't really know celebrities.
lipstick or lip gloss.
Favorite lip gloss?
Best part of working on location.
Meeting new people.
Favorite type of makeup look to create.
Dramatic paintings.
Must-have tool in your makeup kit.
Lash glue.
Make your silliest selfie face. Love it. Oh, you are so great. Oh my gosh. Like, thank you once again for lending me your time and being so generous with the wealth of information that you've given to new stylists coming into the industry and also to inspire those that have been in it for a while. You know, we always need inspiration, and just like you're helping them, they help you, you're helping me, but I'm also helping you. We just keep paying it forward and keeping our community strong.
Yes, and we keep doing that outside of this too. So I'm glad that you have this and that we met and
Yes.
that I've worked with you.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're doing this. This is amazing. And congrats, even though I didn't get to say that.
Thank you, Tiffany. I so appreciate you.
Of course, I appreciate you.
Okay, till next time.
Yes.